Hey guys, welcome to the Film Pundits. We are doing a review of Sunday night's episode of The Strain. I forgot what day it was. I'm joined here with Eric Bratlian. Hi, Eric.
Hello there.
That's
nice to meet you.
Don't touch me.
Okay.
So we're going to start off our review by doing non-spoilers, and then once we move into spoilers, we'll let you guys know, and you guys will be able to click that Guardians poster behind us like usual.
Yep.
And then
until it's gone. Until that giveaway happens.
It started.
Until it's finished.
It'll be finished next
Well,
Friday.
once it's finished, then that'll be gone.
Yeah, it will be. We'll have to replace it with something else.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Big picture of my face, right? All right, something else movie related. On to the review.
So, let's just start with just general thoughts about the episode.
Okay.
And
you go ahead and go first.
Okay. Overall, I actually really liked this episode. I thought it was a nice build-up from the last. And we finally got to see more things happen. We got to see some of the characters that were missing in the last episode. And the story seems to be actually advancing, at least in my opinion, pretty quickly now. Mm-hmm. We're starting to see things develop much quicker. We're starting to see the effects of everything that's happened in the last four episodes, 4 weeks. So, yeah, I'm happy with how that's progressed, and it's just good to see things just going now. There was a lot of exposition leading up to this, and I feel like finally now, hopefully, the story will just continue. There were little details in there that I thought weren't really necessary, but overall, thumbs up. I really liked it. What'd you think?
Yeah, it was another solid episode. You know, some stuff's finally starting to go a little crazy. Our main characters are no longer the only ones kind of finding out about what's going on in the world. It's sort of starting to expand. I don't think it's too spoilery.
Shit's starting to get real.
Yeah, I don't think it's really spoiling anything to say.
No.
It's kind of starting to work its way out into the real world. Mm-hmm. Come on, you must at this point know there's some crazy virus stuff going on, and it's working its way out into the real world. Real people are seeing this stuff start to happen, and so near the end of this, that stuff's starting to happen. That's cool. There's still stuff in there that's the writing is starting to kind of get to me a little in that each episode has its parts where I'm a little just okay, that's a little over the top, or it's a little too cliche, or a little too like generalized like any other story, and they just sort of slapped it together. It has those parts to it, this was another solid episode. Mm-hmm. And
one other thing too, like I don't think this is a spoiler, is we get to see some backstory, which is really nice. Mm-hmm. I won't go into detail, but we do get to see not necessarily the origin of the story, but origin of a character, which will help kind of tell the story of how he gets to where he is and how he meets the people that he meets. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
You think that's about it for non-spoilers?
Yeah,
for now.
But so I think in general, obviously we liked it. But yeah. let's get into some details. So if you don't want to know any spoilers, and you haven't watched the episode yet, stop right now. Click on this Guardians poster. It'll take you to the very end where we just give our final wrap-up thoughts. And make sure you watch the episode and then come back and watch the spoilers, and then you can let us know what your thoughts were on the episode. So, without further ado, lead us off there, good sir.
So, we open up on rockstar vampire guy Gabe. His name is Gabe. I wrote it down.
Real.
Yep.
There you go.
And he's getting that urologist to come in and check out his no longer there wee-wee. So I don't know what she's going to be checking out, but hey, why not? She's there anyway. And you kind of get that impending sense of doom right away from meeting this chick. You're like, I'm sorry you're about to die. And sure enough, what do you know? He doesn't wait about, I don't know, maybe a minute before just tearing into her. And when we see his face, you're like, this dude looks fucked up. He no longer looks like a rock star with pale makeup on. You can see his face is really messed up. And I don't know how his assistant isn't noticing this, because it's pretty apparent. For someone who supposedly is with him all the time, she should recognize something's going down other than whatever's going on down there.
Especially considering the fact they are vampires. And the more they transform, the less they talk, the less emotion they have. So if you saw that in your client or in a person, Wouldn't you be a little concerned?
Yeah, especially if you knew him, and he was a talker. He liked to talk. He had that mouth on him, and it's like you should definitely be concerned about him at this point. But she just goes on her merry little way, goes downstairs, talks to whoever on her cell phone. Here's the lady scream. Goes back up there to see Gabe munching down on her neck with his little mouth tongue thing, which I think should have elicited much more of a response than she gave. She sort of just freaked out a little bit. Started running away down the stairs, and then like snapped her ankle, which looked pretty gruesome. I mean, that was
ladies, don't run down the stairs with heels.
That freaked me out more than seeing any of these vampires munch down on people. Seeing that ankle just bending 90 degrees, I'm like, ugh, that just. And then she still manages to hobble on it, which I feel like would be a bit difficult on something that you snapped like that. But yeah, so she goes downstairs and calls a person just to take care of the dead body that's there now, because she's like, oh, he's killing someone. No, I don't understand her response. It doesn't make any sense. She kind of seems, because she tells the person, oh, make sure that I can't be connected to this at all. So maybe she's like, I quit. I'm done with this. So let somebody else come in and clean this up. I'm not even going to deal with it. I'm not worrying about what I just saw, what just happened. There's a dead person. If anything, I'm going to try and help him if he's still a person to not get caught. I don't really get where her mindset is at to try and like save him from any trouble, where it's like, okay, this doesn't really.
You just
seem like
murdered somebody.
Yeah. So that was a little weird. Her motivation for doing what she did seemed a little strange.
Yeah.
I mean, we might as well talk about the Gabe's whole story like we did last time. We'll just talk about everything. So then, the gentleman comes to try and clean up said dead lady body. And it's weird because even though Gabe seems to have this entire studio building space to be in, I don't know why he stays up on that third floor, his little like living area. He can go anywhere in this building, and yet he seems to just stay up there.
He's a hermit,
I guess. I mean, he has the whole building though.
Yeah.
But so that guy shows up, finds the dead body, starts sort of cleaning up, sees Gabe standing there, tells him, "Hey, buddy, just back off, stay over there. I'll do my thing. I'll fix this up for you, and we'll figure this out. Don't worry about it."
And meanwhile, he's standing there completely covered in blood.
Yeah.
Which is a little concerning.
A little bit. But obviously, it's like, okay, he just killed this lady. Obviously, he's going to be covered in blood. It doesn't throw this guy off too much. He's a professional. He knows what he's doing. He's cleaning up for this guy. But then Gabe doesn't listen. That silly Gabe. Why didn't he listen? He starts coming towards him, attacks him, and then gets shot in the chest a couple times. And then decides he's going to play dead so that he can kill this expert guy who came in to clean everything up.
The expert cleaner.
The expert. He's Stanley
the ultimate
steamer.
maid.
Yeah, the ultimate Stanley steamer. He'll even get bodies for you. So, yeah, then he kills that guy, and I think that's all we see of Gabe the Rockstar in this episode.
Yeah, those two major scenes,
Yep. So that's about all we see for him. And then next we go to Ephraim and Abe, who are just chilling at the French guy's house upstairs in his kitchen. And Abe's making breakfast, no big deal. They just murdered two people and burned the bodies down in the basement. No, I mean that's the way. That's the way
that's
I
a
build
natural
my
thing
appetite,
you do. You make scrambled eggs and toast at someone's house that you just killed.
Yeah, it's like the whole time. Oh, I love that burnt body smell. It really adds to the
it's quite pungent.
The flavor. Yeah. So they seem to be pretty relaxed and.
I was
hungry.
a little confused in that scene. Initially I thought that was Ephraim's house, his apartment or something, but. I figured, well, he's divorced. He probably wouldn't live in a house that nice.
Yeah.
It must be the Frenchman's house.
Yeah, well, I mean, we kind of left off in the last episode right at that kitchen where Ephraim's talking to Nora about her leaving. So, yeah, we're kind of right back in that kitchen again. So it looked familiar. So, yeah. But, yeah, so they're sitting there eating and they're just talking about everything. And Abe is explaining to him. He's like, this is... he's referred to as the Master, and he feeds off other people and sucks their blood, and then
initially basically spreads this entire infection.
Yeah, exactly. He's patient zero, as he refers to him in the CDC term that Ephraim would understand. And so then Ephraim finally says the thing that's been on everybody's mind this whole time. Oh, so they're vampires. But then Abe says, no, I call them the Strigoi.
Strigoi, yeah.
Strigoi, and it's like, oh, which means vampire in
Romanian.
Romanian. It's like, okay, so yeah, there's still vampire. It's like,
Yeah.
obviously I wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
It's just, okay, but yeah.
Don't give it a fancy name now, okay?
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like, okay, whatever. So, now we figured out what they're called in Romanian. I think vampire is easier to say.
Yeah.
Other than Strigoi.
Yeah.
That's what's that.
Sounds like a pasta.
A little bit. Oh man, I want some Strigoi right now. That sounds good. I'm pretty hungry. But yeah, so then we go to our first flashback.
Mm-hmm.
We see young Abe on a train with his grandmother.
I think it was his grandmother and
it was
his
sort
brother.
of hard to tell exactly. And yeah, was that his brother?
I
Because
think
the way they were
so.
talking about like the woman, it didn't seem like it was necessarily a brother. It seemed more like a friend,
Maybe.
like someone he knew.
I have a feeling it was based on, because the scene is subtitled, and based on what he called her, the nickname sounds very similar to the nickname I call my grandma.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling it was grandmother and maybe brother or a cousin, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
So, it was weird because we didn't really find out exactly who these people were.
Yeah.
It's like you kind of assume it's maybe a grandmother, but it could also be his mother. It's hard to tell exactly. She was a little older looking, so maybe it was grandmother. You're right.
Yeah. And he was probably maybe in his late teens, early 20s.
Yeah, somewhere in his 20s.
Yeah,
pretty
so
young looking.
by that math, he's got to be already about in his 80s in present day. So he's
Yeah,
pretty
was
old.
what, 1944?
For 1944 in Poland, during the World War.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, so we flash back to that. They're on a train, and his grandmother, we'll just say grandmother for the rest of the episode. His grandmother starts telling him about the Strigoi and warning him there's this evil out there, and I don't think that where we're going to on this train is going to be a good place. I think it's going to be a bad place, which is weird. It's like, I don't understand how maybe we'll find out in further flashbacks, but she seems to have this knowledge of where they're headed. Which I don't understand how she could have that knowledge necessarily.
Well, I don't think she necessarily has knowledge of where they're going. I think probably this legend that she tells him, this what he thinks is a tall tale of this legendary vampire. It's probably something that she's encountered in the past.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that World War II is not the first time anyone's ever run into this vampire. So I think she's just forewarning him that there's potential. Because she knows that something is going on. So,
yeah. So, and then the train stops, they get pulled out, and we see their German soldiers pulling them out, and we see the creepy German guy in his actual youth standing up there reading out. Well, I guess we don't
in his prime, but he looks exactly the same as he does in present day.
So, we don't know yet if he's infected, if he's a vampire yet or not.
Right.
He could not be. But most likely, since we already see the patient zero vampire later on, I'm assuming maybe he's already been bitten. Who knows?
Maybe,
because it seems like
it's kind of unknown right now. Yeah,
it's a thing that seemed to know was going on.
Yeah.
So I guess we might as well talk about the whole flashback at once. So then the two boys are split up away from the grandmother, and they go to do their thing. And so then the first night, I guess it's the first night. We don't really know exactly what night it is, but Abe is sitting there laying in bed with wide awake and just sees this giant creature fly in and run around and murder a person and snap their neck and then run out. And sort of takes it better than I think I would.
Yeah.
If I were to see something like that.
I would crap my pants, first of all.
Yeah, well.
Second of all, I would jump out of the bed and run.
Okay.
And yell and scream.
That means you get murdered too, though. So he might have taken the right route and just laying there. But by only telling his buddy the next day, I think he made a mistake.
Yeah.
It's like, I saw this creature. It was feeding on him. It was whatever. And then his friend is like, you were probably just having a nightmare. No big deal.
Yeah.
And just blows it off.
Yeah, and the one thing, I don't know, did he tell him that it feeds on misery? Was that something that Abe told F, or was that something that...
That's what his mother...
His grandmother told him.
Told him
yeah,
it feeds on misery.
Yeah.
And he said, what place is more miserable than this?
Yeah.
So,
referring to the camp that they were going to.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, we see that happen. And then that night, I guess we're assuming, the vampire comes back for Abraham's buddy, brother, cousin, whatever he is. And, murders him too, which is unfortunate. So that's all we get for flashbacks in this episode, right? Nothing else?
Yeah, that's everything.
So, we get a little bit of backstory there. we see this vampire in his youth. Man, he was moving around way quicker back in those days.
Yeah.
Back in 1944, flying around, snapping people's necks and junk, which was pretty interesting to see. I just like seeing that vampire in general, I guess. But I don't know. The only thing about those flashbacks is, as much as it kind of gave us a look into the past, I don't feel. I don't know how much. It was kind of cool to see these flashbacks, see the vampire before, see that German guy before, but I don't know how much I really care about the fact that it was Abe's story. Like, it could have almost just been anybody going through this situation. Like, it almost didn't matter that it was Abe going through it, because I don't know, maybe the fact that his friend was killed and his mother, whatever's going to happen to her, maybe that's what causes him to go after and hunt these people. So I guess it kind of matters, but I don't know. I felt like a little underwhelmed by the flashbacks, but they were still interesting to see.
Yeah, I think it's just another one of those setups that's more exposition than actual action. So, but yeah, I think it's something that will definitely be expanded upon throughout the season.
Yeah.
So, kind of a crazy theory, but do you think that the heart that Abraham is keeping, do you think that could be the grandmother, or does he refer to it in any way that would make it seem like it's a significant other?
I feel like he referred to it as my love in some episode or something like that.
I couldn't remember if he had or hadn't.
I feel like he has, so I'm pretty sure it was not his grandmother. Otherwise, that's a pretty creepy incestual relationship right there.
Well,
but I don't know. You could love your grandmother. I love my grandmother. But
so.
yeah, she's awesome. But yeah, so it's hard to. We still don't know exactly who that heart is. But so then we cut back to, what do we see next? We cut to the lawyer, I believe. Yeah, the lawyer lady, which is your favorite character.
She's so rude.
Yeah. So she's laying there in bed, and her kids bring her some breakfast in bed. Oh, how sweet. They seem so nice. Good. That must be because the nanny has raised them all their life, because the lawyer lady doesn't seem all that great necessarily. Takes one sip of the tea, spills it all over the breakfast her children made her, and then shoos everybody out of the room. So, hey, she's in a great mood.
She's a peach.
She is a peach, She's such a lovely lady. Yeah. And so then later we catch up with her again, and she's complaining that forgot before we get to that, when her daughter is sitting on the bed, very creepy, very longingly staring at her daughter's neck, which is pretty concerning.
Yeah.
Getting right up in there, almost kissing it, which is a little weird. But we see that happen, little longing stare at her neck before they head out of the room. And then we cut back later to lawyer lady sitting in there in pain, and the nanny comes in and says, "What's the matter?" And she's saying, "Oh, I just need to get out and do something. I don't need any more tea. Stop bringing me tea."
Yeah.
And then she says, "Oh, my eye hurts. Look at my eye. There's something in my eye." And the nanny looks and sees, "Oh, look, there's a little extra blinky on the sideways there. Some different eyelids.
She blinks vertically now.
Yeah, she sure does. Just like what was the monster in Men in Black? One of the Men in Black aliens did that also.
Oh yeah, it was the character in the very beginning of the first movie when Will Smith chases him onto the roof and then he jumps.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I forget that character's name, but just like that.
Yep, just blinks just like that. So
the nanny's concerned.
Yeah, a little bit.
She knows shit's happening.
She freaks out.
So
but
she starts packing up.
Doesn't tell her what's going on. She's like, "Oh, nothing. I didn't see anything." As she gets out of the room, grabs the children, grabs their clothes, and starts taking them out the door. And before they can make it, lawyer lady stops them and says, "Hey, where are you going?" Mm-hmm. "Oh, we're just going out. We're going. I'm taking the children out
watch a movie."
Well, she doesn't say. Well, she did say watch a movie actually right away. Yeah. And she sort of stops them, and once again has a little
very creepy
moment with her daughter, staring at that neck, getting all up in there, until she finally says, "Okay, yeah, sure, fine, go ahead, take them out.
Don't be back late."
Yeah, don't be back too late.
Yeah.
Hopefully they don't come back at all.
Hopefully they come back with something that can kill her.
Yeah, chainsaw, shotgun, something awesome. But yeah, so then nanny takes the kids the heck out of there, and that's all we see for lawyer lady in this episode.
That's the one thing with that character is every time we see her, which is very seldom, nothing really happens. Mm-hmm. You get a little bit here and there, And this is the first time I think we've seen her in, 3 episodes maybe? Or 2 episodes? It's been a while since we've seen her.
Last time we saw her, she was with the Rockstar. So, I mean, we haven't seen her since we saw the Rockstar guy either.
Which I think was like 2 episodes already.
Uh-huh.
Been a while, but...
A little bit.
Yeah, so I'm curious kind of to see what the hell this character is going to do. What significance she's going to play, if they're just going to finally kill her.
Yeah.
Or what. But I hate her.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Terrible.
Unpleasant lady.
Yes.
So then we cut back to Abe and F.
Yeah.
And they're still talking, and Abe imparts this magical wisdom onto Ephraim, saying, "Look, man, these are no longer humans. They're no longer people. To think that they are is going to get you killed. Like, this is no longer a people we are dealing with. You have to keep that in mind. Otherwise, we're never going to be able to. Yeah, we're going to fail in our mission." So he tells him that right before he imparts upon him a nail gun filled with silver nails, which is like, oh, okay, that's kind of fun, I guess, little whatever.
He's like, I modified it with this drum barrel, essentially, just full of these silver nails, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, pretty fun little weapon. Yeah. It doesn't seem to really do much compared to the sword, but it's something.
Yeah.
So he gives him that, and then we see them head off to Ansel's house. Oh, but yeah, before they get there, they're driving in Ephraim's car.
Right.
And we get the whole backstory on Ephraim's car, which I feel like is more backstory than we've gotten for some of the main characters in this show.
Yeah.
We find out all about how, I was in this, where was it, Nigeria or something, off somewhere, doing a mission. He traded his Rolex for it, and he had to treat these people, and then he brought it back here, and he fixed it up, and it's like, oh my goodness, really?
Yeah.
It's like, obviously this car is going to play a big role in this show.
Yeah.
And if it
Hopefully
doesn't...
it runs people over or something.
If it doesn't do anything important in this show, then that was a waste of like 10 minutes of
exposition.
Of exposition on a car.
Yeah. And the one thing, too, in the 2 scenes that we see F and Abraham, and he's trying to get in contact with Nora because he hasn't heard from her.
Yep.
And he's just making sure that she's fine, which... It was like one of those cliche phone calls, like, I'm just making sure you're okay. Are you okay? I haven't heard from you.
Yeah.
It's like, look, cell phones are down, which is something that gets brought up like 3 times.
But then they're kind of working at the same time, which is weird. I don't understand what happened to the whole internet phone service being down. It's back up and then it's down.
Yeah, exactly.
It's weird.
But, it's like, if she really needs you, I'm sure she'll get in contact with you, but just worry about the mission.
Yeah.
Worry about killing these people, which is awkward to say, but it's true.
If anything, he should have been like, just send me a text that says totes alive or something, That's all he needed to know. Just get a text message from her. You ask for a phone call. She doesn't want to talk to you, okay? But she'll text you or email you.
Yeah.
Just ask for that next time.
Or Instagram you, whatever.
Yeah, just send me an Instagram, a selfie. Just let me know you're alive. No big deal. Then they get to the French gentleman's house. And
no, not French. Ansel.
Oh, yeah. My bad. Yeah, they go from the French guy's house to Ansel's house, where they find his wife hanging from the the rafters above the stairs.
Yeah, essentially she hung herself.
Which I kind of get, but I don't know. At the end of the last episode, where she kind of fed that guy to Ansel, I was kind of thinking, okay, maybe she kind of snapped a little bit. She's going to be on the bad side a little bit. She's going to be kind of a main character and sort of hide him, and protect her husband that she cares about. But nope, all right, she kind of gave up on that. So I don't know. It's now the things that happened in the last episode feel even more out of place. It's like, I don't know, that snap in her judgment. But then again, I guess it makes sense in this one. She decided, nope, that was too much of a rash decision. I have to kill myself now. I essentially killed this person by sending him in there. Yeah, and
she essentially leaves a suicide note that says that the kids are going with his family, and it's something to the effect of that she doesn't want to be away from him. She loves him. She wants to be with him, and clearly he's not himself anymore. He's now something completely different. So that's the reason why she ends up hanging herself.
Yeah.
And then while they're there, they notice that the shed is rattling, and they can hear something rattling in the shed.
But before that, there's something we got to mention. Is we find out how you are able to spot these vampires.
Right.
You find out if you look at their reflection in a silver mirror and it's vibrating or shaking, then that means they're infected. So I thought, okay, that's going to come into play either later in this episode or, I mean, definitely further on, they're going to have to use that to figure out who's infected, who isn't, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
It's a really cool way. I mean, I think it might have been a little cooler even if they had no reflection at all in a silver mirror, because it's a little hard if you're sitting there, your hand is shaking.
Hang on.
Yeah, exactly. Like, hold on, let me hold this steady to
Yeah.
make sure that it's your reflection and not my hand. It's like, come on, that seems like. But if it's
It's a
based
challenge,
if it's
for
based
sure.
off of the comics, then I can't
Or the
blame
book,
them for
yeah.
that. But yeah, it seems like it's a bit annoying to have to find. That's the only way you can find out. But so
Storm in
that's
some sunlight.
yeah,
Right?
Yeah, then we know what happens. And actually, she was like sitting there, and there was sunlight on her, so
Exactly.
obviously she wasn't infected.
Yeah.
She would have been smoking. Yeah. So then they hear a little noise coming from that back shed, and they're like, "Okay, let's go look at this." Once again, no flashlights. Who needs flashlights? Nobody.
Which is funny because this time when we go in there's a lot more light in there
of
now.
course there is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And before they even go in there, Ephraim tells him, he's like, I need video proof of this. Like,
Yeah.
I need to be able to have proof to show everyone at the CDC. So grabs his new weapon of choice, his iPhone, and in they go.
I'm glad he knows how to record a video, though. He did record in vertical
Yeah.
mode, which thank goodness. Like, nobody wants to see vertical filming.
Yeah, come on, guys.
It's like at least he knows how
Take
to
it and
properly.
turn it.
Yeah, he knows how to film with an iPhone, which
There
is
you go.
nice. He does know how to do that.
Yeah.
So then they walk in, and for some reason, Ansel has managed to shorten his chain to the perfect length, so that now his mouth can't even reach towards the door. Whereas before, his wife was in like 2 feet, and he was like a foot away from her with his face. And now all of a sudden he's like halfway in the shed, and his little sucker mouth thing can't even reach the front door. It's like, okay, did he adjust his own chain? I kind of doubt that. Like, and then so whatever. And,
Minor detail.
Yeah, whatever. Ephraim goes in there, shoots him a little bit with the nail gun. He records the whole thing on video, and then Abe goes up, slices him down. And then they both sort of decide, oh, cool, we got him. This is done. And then Abe looks over in the corner after hearing a noise and realizes, oh, the neighbor's there. He turned the neighbor. He didn't kill the neighbor. And then immediately just murders that guy.
Kills him.
Yep. So, we find out, oh, he's alive. Oh, he's dead. So that lasts for about 2 seconds. And then Abe just dumps a bunch of gas in there.
They burn that mother down.
Burns it down while Ephraim's outside making sure he got a good shot, making sure he got the right angle. Which I'm surprised that he had enough lighting in there to get that good get a good shot, because iPhones, they don't do that good in the dark, but whatever, that's fine. Who cares? So then we see that, and then after we see that, we
Go to Nora.
And she is talking with her mother in the nursing home. We find out, or nursing home, hospital, whatever this place seems to be. It's where her, like a, I don't know.
Home. It's a home for the elderly, basically. Because her mom probably has
Alzheimer's or
Exactly.
dementia, something.
Exactly.
She seems a little off, but sort of still with it.
Yeah.
So it's hard to tell exactly how much, because she's talking about, oh, she's here to take me home, and she's in school to become this, and she's like, oh, I already am this,
Right.
and oh, I'm not here to take you home.
Right.
But then later on, she says, I don't like it here. I want to go back to our actual home. So it's like, okay, are you kind of with it, and you know what you're saying, but you're just going with it anyway. But
short-term memory of some kind.
so something off with Nora visiting her mother. So that's just sort of a little bit of backstory on her. Nothing too important really happens with that.
No.
But at one point, and I thought this was going to be a really interesting thing, we see a mirror sitting on the table that looked silver to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, is she going to pull up this mirror to like check her mother's hair, and we're going to see her reflection vibrating? Oh my God, how cool would that be? Her mother's a vampire? That would be so awesome. That never happens. I was a little disappointed by that. But so she knows. She just takes her mother, is going to take her back to her room, essentially. When, what do you know? There's a vampire attack happening in the main lobby of this building. And so, now all hell is breaking loose. And real people are seeing this in, not broad daylight, but I mean...
In the open.
Yeah. It's happening. It's finally starting to work its way into the real world, which is a little freaky. And so Nora and her mother run out the back, and that's the last we see of them for the episode. So we also, in this episode, catch up with our favorite Exterminator. which is fun. When we first see him, he's walking into the office. He gets all these assignments.
It's right after he does the job for the
mayor.
Yeah. And
he's in a little bit of hot water, but luckily the boss isn't there yet, so he gets in and out before anything happens. But we just see him walk in, talk to the receptionist for a minute about the rats that he saw and what's going on with that, and then he goes ooga booga booga or whatever and freaks her out. So it's like, okay.
And basically tells her that the rats. The reason, because the last episode we see all the rats running out from underneath the city, and he tells her, they're running from something. Something is basically forcing these rats out.
Yeah.
So he goes underground into the sewage system to check and see, and he's the one person in this entire show who had 2 flashlights.
2 of them.
Not just one. 2.
Here's
he had
the
one
thing,
in his
though.
helmet.
He had that little tiny one up there, and I'm like, if that's the only flashlight that man brought, I'm going to be so mad at this show.
I hope you die.
Sure enough, he pulls out this giant flashlight, which doesn't illuminate anything. I don't know. The way they shoot this show, it's very dark. It makes sense. It's a dark show, dark subject matter, whatever. But come on, if he's got a giant flashlight that seems it's making a noise like you're powering up a taser or something like that, obviously it's got some juice to it. Let it actually illuminate what's going on down there. And he starts walking, and we hear these noises, and we're like, oh, no. Don't let him die already. He's going to meet the patient zero, the big Mac Daddy of vampires, and he's going to die.
And then all of a sudden you hear footsteps run past him. He looks, and he gets freaked out.
Yeah.
And he turns, and you hear this growling, this slow growling, and you look, and there's like 5 vampires coming at him. He turns, there's another 3.
Oh, yeah.
So now he knows he's in some shit.
Oh, yeah.
He needs to get out of there ASAP. So what does he do? He books it to the top.
Yep.
And as he books it to the top, the vampires at the bottom, they go to the bottom of the ladder, and there's sunlight, and he sees them being burned by the sunlight.
So we finally see what happens to them in sunlight.
Yeah.
They definitely can't take it.
Yep.
So that's a nice little thing. We know this exterminator's figured out what's going on, which is cool. He's going to do something about it. And that's all we see of him.
Right.
But it's just enough.
It's just enough to now get him involved in the story.
Yeah, pique our interest and really make us know he's going to be a big part of this, hopefully. So that was exciting to see him. And then we get to sort of the end of the episode where Ephraim goes back to the CDC with this new video proof that he has. And he starts talking to the CDC boss, who seems very surprised to see him and very shocked. And we see Jim standing there behind him, sort of leaning up against the wall. Like we know something is up. But it's really difficult to tell exactly.
Something is up, but F is not in the loop on what's
exactly.
going on.
It's at first I'm thinking, okay, do they kind of have an idea of what's going on? Like what's I don't understand. Did something happen to like somebody? Like I thought, oh, maybe something happened to his wife and he doesn't know yet, and they know, and they're going to tell him. I'm like, there's so many things that could be happening. And so he shows the CDC boss the video after explaining all these things. Like, look, this is what happened. He told him that he took the pilot body and he did an autopsy, right?
Yeah.
Look, I took the body, I did an autopsy. This is what happened. Here, I have video proof of what happens to these bodies when they're infected. Shows him the video. He watches it. He sees these disturbing images. He can hardly even look at it. And then after seeing that, decides, okay, I'm going to go make a phone call, cancel all my meetings. We're going to figure this out.
Yeah, because Ephraim's whole pitch was essentially, if you're the guy who stops this, you will be known as the man who stops this entire war. Essentially, so he really knows how to sell it to this guy. So this guy obviously you think at least
And then Jim kind of comes in and informs him, look, buddy, you're screwed. He's like, he's not canceling all his appointments. He's like, no, they have you on video dragging the pilot's body across the hallway. Which, come on, really? I mean,
they don't have surveillance of him attacking them either?
Exactly. Like that seems way too convenient. That the only camera footage they have is him dragging a body. And did they destroy the body? They kind of just put it into a room and left it there. If anything, they see this video footage, go down, find where that body is, see exactly what he's telling you, and realize that it's not a problem.
Which could have to do with the fact that they did get the girl in the last episode to shut down all the power and the internet and all that kind of stuff. So that could be part of the reason. It wasn't
the power. She didn't shut down power. It was just internet and phones, which seemed to be back working again, which we already kind of mentioned, which was weird, and I don't know what's going on with that. But yeah, so they should have been able to find that body. There should have been some evidence, and that video evidence should prove, look, there was a reason behind killing this person. Obviously, And there's so many things that point to Ephraim not being involved in anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Ephraim showed up as that pilot was already disappearing. Obviously, he didn't take the pilot's body, take him down there, and murder the guy and hide the body. Obviously, that couldn't have happened. He was out doing things.
Right, which we don't exactly know how it's going to play out. It could play out that this boss is working for the Germans.
That's a good point.
You know, he could be working for them, and he's now using Ephraim as a reason to just basically get rid of him, to try to put him in jail, get rid of him so he doesn't know what's happening.
Okay. That would make more sense to me, because if this CDC boss is actually a CDC boss, he's even worse at his job than I already thought he was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because, he's just totally not treating any of this how you should. Not looking at anything rationally. So Jim decides to help Ephraim, helps him get out of the building. Ephraim's card all of a sudden isn't working. Don't know how he got in the building. I guess maybe the CDC boss managed to get his card turned off in the 2 seconds he was on the phone. But so Jim helps him get out and escape really quick, and we see, okay, maybe they're sort of starting to bond again and become friends a little bit. But Ephraim still definitely seems mad at Jim and is telling him, look, if you want to do the right thing, you help me actually get this taken care of. You help me do your job, essentially, And then Jim says, look, I need your cell phone. And he says, you're not taking my phone. This is the only proof I have that I'm not lying. So he just takes out the SIM card, throws it on the ground, walks out, and onto the street, and that is all we see. That is the end of this episode.
Yeah. One thing we did forget is we do see Aldrich, the older gentleman who got the kidney transplant.
Oh, yeah.
And he's having conversation in his head, and his assistant comes in. He's like, "Was I talking?" He goes, "No."
Mm-hmm.
And basically, the doctor comes in and tells him, "Look, your body can't take surgeries anymore. Like this is absolutely like the last surgery your body will be able to handle. Otherwise, you will die."
Yeah.
And he basically tells him, like, you know what? This is the last one I think I'm gonna need. I think from here on out, I'm good to go. So I think this guy's very optimistic that he's gonna get something in return.
Oh yeah, he's definitely
from the vampire, from the what do they call him?
The Master.
The Master.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how that shakes out, if it actually turns out to be that, or if something else happens.
Yeah, the Master starring Joaquin Phoenix and Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah.
So, we saw that little glimpse of him, and he's pretty optimistic that he's going to make it through. The Vampire King is going to come and save his life and give him eternal life, essentially.
Right. And I think this is actually the first episode that we've actually seen every character in one episode, which I think what made it that much more interesting. I think the only characters that we didn't see or didn't see that much of were Jim and Ephraim's wife. But I think we pretty much saw everyone who's been kind of a pivotal character through the whole show.
I guess so far. Yeah, that's a good point.
So, which is good. And I think it kind of helped pace out the show a little bit.
Yeah.
The episode, at least.
Yeah.
But is that everything?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just give us your final thoughts on this episode.
Yeah, my final thoughts were, this one definitely picked up. It had some good pacing all the way through. We got a nice glimpse of all of our main characters, which is nice. We didn't feel like where's this person? We haven't seen them in so long. Because the way they do these episodes, it seems like they give you a glimpse of like half of the main cast at a time, essentially. Other than our two, like Ephraim, our real main character. Like the secondary characters, we only seem to see every other episode.
Right.
So it was nice to get it was nice to see everything happening in the same episode. We catch up with that new character, the Exterminator gentleman, which was cool because I like him. So overall, it was nice. It was done well. It still had those annoying little things, which hopefully will iron themselves out later, or maybe I'm just going to have to learn to ignore. Some people use the excuse of, it's based off comic books. They're kind of cheesy. They're written that way. It's like, yeah, but you have the opportunity to fix that when you go and you redo stuff like this. And when people use that excuse for like The Walking Dead or anything like that, I don't normally buy it, because you can still have good writing on something based off of a comic book. And, Marvel has proved that many times making all their movies. But that aside, still a good episode. I enjoyed it. And, I'm really excited to see where it goes from here, because I don't see how they can really have many more slow episodes with what's starting to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have to agree. I think it was a really solid episode. The pacing was good. It was nice to see all the characters in one episode, and it was nice to just see more progress into the story. And it's definitely a big jump forward into the story. So I look forward to just seeing what happens from here on out. and I can't wait to see essentially Abraham's team of soldiers
Oh yeah.
unite and just to go after all these main vampires, or just any of the vampires in general. I think it's going to be really awesome to see what's going to happen. I think it's going to turn. It's been like a thriller horror show, drama type of show, and I think there's a chance that it may slowly turn into not necessarily an action show, but we'll get definitely more action bits in it, which I think would be really cool.
Yeah.
So those are our thoughts. Let us know what you guys think. Leave us some comments down below and let us know what you liked or disliked about the show. Also, something that we launched today, we launched a giveaway. We're going to be giving away 3 different Guardians of the Galaxy posters.
Oh, yeah.
This is one of them. And we're going to be picking 3 winners to win 3 different ones. We have the IMAX preview poster, a print done by Poster Posse, which was a Comic-Con exclusive, and then we have a copy of the theatrical one-sheet. And that contest is going to be going on until next Friday, the 22nd. I believe it's the 22nd. So go to our website. We'll put a link in the description below, and you can also go on our Facebook page, facebook.com/thefilmpundits, to enter the contest. While you're here, make sure you subscribe to our channel, youtube.com/thefilmpundits, for weekly reviews on The Strain, comic book movie news, television news, and we're also going to be reviewing movies. We just reviewed Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and very soon we'll be reviewing Sin City: A Dame to Kill For.
Ooh.
So until then, we'll see you guys next week. But in the meantime, Eric, where can people find you on the internet?
People can find me on Twitter at Thanks for the View, with the number 4 in the middle.
And you guys can find me on all social media just under Adam Hlavik. So until next week, guys, have a good night.
See ya.